Okay. Good morning. I'm Claire Lewis, a member of your parish committee. We are glad you are here, online or in person, in our beautiful, if yet chilly, sanctuary. I want to welcome any special visitors that we have today. We invite you to join us downstairs or online for community time following the service. And downstairs is literally just downstairs where there'll be coffee. I also would like to have a special welcome for Matt Meyer. Matt lives in Boston and travels as an itinerant worship leader, bringing the good news of Unitarian Universalism to hundreds of congregations all over the country. He serves as Director of Operations for Sanctuary Boston, a contemporary UU worship community. The Sanctuary Boston Worship Band, is releasing an album this spring, and you can visit Matt at his table after worship to pre-order a copy. Matt is also a published children's book author, and his story, Desmond Gets Free, won a Nautilus Award for social justice in children's fiction. Desmond Gets Free will also be available for sale at Matt's table after the service. So for us, our mission is to build community, search for meaning, deepen our spirituality, and make a better world. If you have questions about First Parish or Unitarian Universalism, someone from our membership team will be at the welcome table during coffee hour to greet you and answer any questions, or I'm sure you can chat with Matt. A big thanks to all our other service participants whose names are in the order of service. And please remember to silence your cell phones for our time together. So please join me now for a quick welcome to say hello to one another, including a wave to the online folks. Not that camera, because it's not working today. We're having a really fun day this morning. But there is a camera behind you that shows up here, so you can wave to folks online there, and of course, greet each other in their pews. Okay. We do have a last announcement by Barb Hefner and Lynn Trimby, who will talk about the auction.
Double, double, toil and trouble. The FP auction is about to bubble.
Oh, please, less cackling and more class. This is not just any gathering, it's a magical trip to Oz.
Right. We're off to the auction, the wonderful auction of Oz.
And what an Emerald City celebration it will be. Costume contests, themed beverages. Have you ever tried a ruby slipper? Not the shoe, the cocktail?
No, but I make a mean witch's brew. But, spoiler alert, I must tell you that it can't turn anyone into a good witch.
Nothing could do that for you.
Rude.
Anyway, there will be live music, a fabulous silent auction, all presided over by our own Wizard David.
And while the grown-ups are clicking their heels and raising their paddles, the children will have their own movie party, complete with their own costume contest.
So the little munchkins can come as their favorite Oz character and not have to sit through adults outbidding each other for gift baskets.
And speaking of costumes, there's a contest for the big witches, the scarecrows, the lions, etc. So dress your greenest, your sparkliest, and your most Oztastic.
And remember, Galinda loves a splash of pink.
Ugh, fine. But the best dressed may just win a prize or the adoration of the entire UU congregation.
So mark your calendars, don your most festive Oz-inspired attire, and get ready for an evening of magic and mischief at the auction.
And if you forget, let me just say I have a spell for that.
Don't let her hex you, just show up. And don't forget the silent auction ends this coming Thursday at 8 p.m. So get online and get your goodies now.
There will be some gift baskets downstairs for preview.
Cackle.
And I'd now like to welcome Leah Levine and the Levine family, there they are, to come up and light our chalice.
With open minds and loving hearts, we gather to search for meaning, to care for one another, and to work together for a better world.
So with a heartfelt welcome to all, let us now turn our hearts and minds to worship.
Well, I've been reading recently about the history of congregational singing in Unitarian Universalism, a popular subject, well, for me at least. And one of the things that I've loved reading about is that once upon a time in our Unitarian ancestors' congregations, long ago, before we were Unitarians, back when we were still Puritans, there was a great controversy that arose in our congregations around music. I'm sure that this isn't a congregation that ever has debates about music or style or anything like that, but once upon a time, music was very divisive. And one of the most divisive conversations that ever arose in our congregations, a debate, a heresy in fact, that set congregations and families even against each other, was whether we should allow hymns in church on Sundays. But before the heresy of hymns invaded our churches, our Puritan ancestors only sang the Psalms, and they only sang in call and response together. And so we're going to sing a bunch of call and response today in celebration of that heritage, but we're going to add some theology and some rhythm that would have our ancestors rolling over in their graves. So for our invocation this morning, I invite you to sing this song with me. Your part goes like this. Call down a blessing, call down a blessing, call down a blessing, call down. Call down a blessing, call down a blessing, call down a blessing, call down. Let's try that. Call down a blessing, call down a blessing, call down a blessing, call down. Call down a blessing, call down a blessing, call down a blessing, call down. Beauty above us, beauty before us, beauty within us and beauty between us. So call down a blessing, call down a blessing, call down a blessing, call down. Call down a blessing, call down a blessing, call down a blessing, call down. Love above us, love before us, love within us and love between us. So call down a blessing, call down a blessing, call down a blessing, call down. Call down a blessing, call down a blessing, call down a blessing, call down. And our opening words comes from a collective called Enfleshed Liturgies. Let's take a deep breath. Take a moment to be present in this place where, for now at least, there is nowhere else you need to be. Before the burning bush of this world, asking you to love all of its holy and hurting ground, come with whatever seed of faith you can muster and listen. Listen for the voice of God thundering softly in your depths. Listen with your hunger and your hurt, your heart and all its wisdom cultivated over time in the company of others. These are the soils from which love calls us to blossom and to bloom, to bear fruit that nourishes and grow our future with care. This tending requires courage, but it is not a sacrifice. Just let yourself unfold in the direction of flourishing. Maybe you are a cleansing fire or a safe place to rest. Maybe you are the grit that won't let us give up. Maybe you are the queer love poem that opens something holy and hopeful in 1,000 other people. There are a million ways to be in love with this groaning and gorgeous world. And our opening hymn is Bright Morning Star. It's in the hymnal, but we're going to do a version with different words and also a different melody. I assure you it's the same song, though. Claire mentioned that my own congregation's house band, where I play as the drummer in the band, we're releasing an album of original Unitarian Universalist worship music this spring. And this is my song, my contribution to the album, or at least my new words. It goes like this. You're going to sing on the chorus. It goes, bright morning star arise, and bright morning stars arise, and bright morning stars arise, and day is a breaking in my soul. Can we try that? Bright morning stars arise, and bright morning stars arise, and bright morning stars arise, and day is a breaking in my soul. Okay, I think you got it. I'll invite you to rise in body or spirit. And we're going to do a lot of singing together this morning, and I invite you to do that in whatever way your spirit needs today. If the words elude you and you just want to hum along, that's okay. That's just as good. And if what you need this morning is to sit down in silence and not sing at all, but just soak in the sound of the room, that's okay too. That's just as good. And if what you need this morning is to rock out like you are alone in the car with the radio, friends, this is your morning to do it. Here we go, bright morning. You take the chorus, I'll take the verses. Bright morning stars arise, and bright morning stars arise, and bright morning stars arise, and day is a breaking in my soul. We'll raise a mighty chorus to sing out loud for justice. We'll raise a song in joyfulness. Day is a breaking in my soul. Bright morning stars arise, and bright morning stars arise, and bright morning stars arise, and day is a breaking in my soul. We'll dance this day in revelry, we'll dance here in good company. I know we're saved already. Day is a breaking in my soul. Bright morning stars arise, and bright morning stars arise, and bright morning stars rise, and day is a breaking in my soul. We're born into belonging, a people made for loving. A bright new day is coming. Day is a breaking in my soul. Bright morning stars arise, and bright morning stars arise, and bright morning stars arise, and day is a breaking in my soul. On earth as up in heaven, we'll build a world of magic, grace in our hearts is fashioned. Days are breaking in my soul. Bright morning stars are rising. Bright morning stars are rising. Bright morning stars are rising. Days are breaking in my soul. In faith we'll grow together. We'll build this world up better with love here at the center. Days are breaking in my soul. Bright morning stars are rising. Bright morning stars are rising. Bright morning stars are rising. Days are breaking in my soul. One more time. Bright morning stars are rising. Bright morning stars are rising. Bright morning stars are rising. Days are breaking in my soul. Days are breaking slowly. Days are breaking in my soul. Oh. You sound good. Let's take a deep breath. You may be seated as you exhale. Well, today's service is what to have faith in, when to lean on our faith, and when to lean on our doubt, which is just as important. And it's a service about looking around at the world around us and wondering when it is time for change, asking questions about the way things are, about the way we find the world around us, and wondering if things might be different someday and how we might get there together. And so I have just the story for you all. Now, Desmond the mouse lived in the most beautiful meadow in all the land. Every morning, Desmond would wake with the sunrise and spend the whole day long playing in the middle of the meadow. And every night, Desmond would go to sleep right in the middle of the meadow under the beautiful starry sky above. One night, though, Desmond woke to find that it was still dark out. So he tried to roll over and get more comfortable and go back to sleep, but something was not right. He could hardly move. And his tail, his tail was throbbing with pain. Reaching behind him, he felt that there was some sort of, it felt like some sort of huge boulder had somehow fallen just on his tail in the middle of the meadow. He pushed on this boulder, trying to push it away with all of his strength, but it didn't budge. When that didn't work, he tried tugging on his tail to get loose, tugging with all of his might, but it didn't work. He tried pushing and tugging and tugging and pushing over and over and over again, till finally he was exhausted and out of breath, and he had just about given up when he saw another animal pass by through the meadow. It was a tall giraffe, and so he called out, "Oh, giraffe, it seems that some sort of boulder has fallen just on my tail in the middle of the meadow. If you could use your powerful legs to push it, well, even just a few inches in the other direction, I could get free." Well, the giraffe laughed at Desmond, the way giraffes do. "You silly mouse," he said. That's no boulder that's fallen on your tail. That is an elephant that has fallen asleep on your tail in the middle of the meadow." Well, Desmond thought about that for a moment and thought, well, maybe that's good news. He asked, if you could just gently wake the elephant up and ask him to roll over even just a few inches in the other direction, I could get free. "I don't know about that," said the giraffe. "I mean, surely you, little mouse, you must know what they say about letting sleeping elephants lie. I find it's best not to get involved in other animals' business. I find it's best to remain neutral in times such as these." "Well," Desmond sighed, "I do not appreciate your neutrality." The giraffe wandered off, and so Desmond tried shouting as loud as he could to wake the elephant, but those giant elephant ears, they were at the way other end of that giant elephant body, and he didn't budge. When that didn't work, he tried pushing again with all of his strength. When the elephant didn't move, he tried tugging his tail again with all of his might, and he tried shouting and pushing and tugging and pushing and shouting over and over and over again, until finally he was exhausted and out of breath, and he had just about given up when he saw another animal pass by through the meadow. This time it was a gazelle. And he called out, "Oh, gazelle, it seems an elephant has fallen asleep just on my tail in the middle of the meadow. If you could just gently wake him up and ask him to roll over even a few inches in the other direction, I could get free." "I don't know about that," said the gazelle. "I mean, surely you must know what they say about letting sleeping elephants lie. I find it's best not to get involved in other animals' business. I find it's best to remain neutral in times such as these." Well, the gazelle wandered off, and Desmond said almost to himself this time, "I do not appreciate your neutrality." One last time, Desmond tried shouting as loud as he could. He tried pushing with all of his strength, and he tried tugging with all of his might, and he tried shouting and pushing and tugging and pushing and shouting over and over and over again, until finally he was out of breath and he was exhausted, and he had given up for the last time when he saw another animal pass by through the grass. And this time it was another mouse. And when Desmond called out, that mouse ran right over and introduced himself. He said, "My name is Nelson. What seems to be the problem?" Well, no sooner had Desmond explained the situation than Nelson ran all the way to the other end of that giant elephant body, and he shouted up to those giant elephant ears at the way top of that giant elephant head, "Excuse me! It seems you've fallen asleep on my friend's tail in the middle of the meadow. If you could roll over just a few inches in the other direction, he could get free." Well, the elephant heard Nelson's little mouse voice way down on the ground, but those giant elephant ears at the top of that giant elephant head, they were just too far away. And Nelson's little mouse voice, it was just a bit too quiet. And you know, just between you and me, I think that elephant was a bit too comfortable. He didn't budge. So Nelson thought for a moment, and then he had an idea, and he ran back to Desmond, and he said, "I think I might have a plan. Stay right here. Don't move." And he ran off into the grass, leaving a confused look on Desmond's face. And just when Desmond was starting to get nervous again, he saw Nelson emerge back through the grass. But this time he wasn't alone. He had found 3 other mouse friends, and each of them, they had each done their job. They had each found another 3 friends as well. The whole group of them, they ran all the way to the other end of that giant elephant body, and one mouse, she climbed up on the shoulders of another, and another mouse climbed up on her shoulders. And one by one, they made a whole mouse ladder all the way up the back of that giant elephant head, until finally Nelson climbed up the shoulders of his friends one by one, and he stood right at the opening of that giant elephant ear. And he shouted with all of his voice, "Excuse me! It seems you've fallen asleep on my friend's tail in the middle of the meadow. Roll over just a few inches so he can get free." Well, this time his voice was just too loud and too close to ignore, and so the elephant said, "Mm." But then he rolled over just a few inches in the other direction. Nelson and his friends climbed back down to the ground carefully, and they met up with Desmond, who was free at last, and the whole group of them spent the rest of that day playing together at the edge of the meadow. Archbishop Desmond Tutu said that if you are neutral in situations of injustice, you've already taken sides. You've taken sides with the powerful, and you've taken sides with the oppressor. And he said if an elephant is standing on the tail of a mouse, the mouse will never appreciate your neutrality. Archbishop Tutu believed in a God who took sides, a God himself who took sides with the orphan and the widow and the oppressed everywhere. And whether we share that same belief in that same God or not, as Unitarian Universalists, we have covenanted, we've agreed together to build a world of justice and equity and compassion. And that means imagining and working for a world very different than the one we see around us today. So it means that we come together in community to do together what we could not do alone, to take sides for justice, to take sides for equity and for compassion, and it means that we come together to side with love. So thank you all, and we're going to sing the children on to your classes now.
Good morning. My name is Eric Felton. I'm a lay minister of this congregation, and my pronouns are he, him, his. This is the time in our service that we set aside to acknowledge our joys and sorrows. In both our sharing and in our witness, we affirm our covenant to care for one another. In these perilous and often frightening times, as we face the uncertainty of the road ahead in our country and in our world, we light our vigil candle in solidarity with all those who are living in fear for the lives and safety of their loved ones and themselves. May the love which abides in our community offer hope, strength, and peace in days to come. If you have a personal joy or sorrow and would like to share, please feel welcome to come or raise your hand and I will bring the microphone to you. And those online, I can read anything in the chat as well. I will light one final candle for those joys and sorrows unspoken. May we hold in our hearts those who have spoken, and those they have named, and those we hold in silence. May it be so.
I invite you to breathe deeply again, to be present in your body, to feel the air in and out and in again. I invite you to join me in a spirit of prayer. Spirit of life, Spirit of love that is within us and between us. Be with us as we are with each other this morning, holding the sorrows that have been spoken as well as those that remain silent in our hearts, the burdens too many of us carry, sharing in community, moving forward into community. May our burdens be lightened. And be with us as we are with each other also in the joys and the celebrations, in the resistance and the resilience as we struggle to find a way forward. We hold each other in all of the sorrows as well as the celebrations, and all of the grief as well as the gratitudes. We hold each other in shared flourishing, unfolding in community. We come with whatever seed of faith we can muster, faith in love, faith in tomorrow, faith in each other, and if we can, faith in ourselves, to root ourselves in love, to move forward together in compassion. Love be with us as we are with each other in the all of it. Love has made a place for you where everything is new. invite you to join in singing. Love has made a place for you where everything is new. Love has made a place for you where everything is new. One more time. Love has made a place for you where everything is new. And our next reading begins with a hymn, number 211 in your hymnals. Well, you might not all need the music for this one. Number 211, We Are Climbing Jacob's Ladder. You may remain seated for this song, meditation, and reflection. Just verse 1, we are climbing. We are climbing Jacob's ladder. We are climbing Jacob's ladder. We are climbing Jacob's ladder. We are climbing.
Jacob was one of the great patriarchs of the Hebrew Bible. He inherited the family lineage passed down from Abraham. But Jacob's life was not without complication. The story says that he wrestled with his twin brother while still in the womb. Later in life, as his father lay dying in bed, Jacob disguised himself as his older brother and lied to his father about his identity in order to steal his older brother's blessing, the most sacred of his family's inheritance. While fleeing from this turmoil that he had caused, Jacob lay down to spend the night, sleeping by the side of the road with a rock for a pillow. In the night, he dreamed of a ladder that extended up to heaven with angels traveling up and down the ladder.
Our Universalist ancestors, not quite yet. Our Universalist ancestors departed from mainstream Christianity to proclaim the heretical belief that no one was damned in the afterlife. They declared that humanity was made in the image of God and that every single person has within them a spark of the divine so sacred that we will all eventually reside together in heaven, in paradise. Even someone like Jacob, they believed, who sowed conflict wherever he went, all around him, even Jacob could have a vision of a pathway to heaven. Today, as Unitarian Universalists, we still proclaim that every person has inherent dignity, every person is holy, and every person is a valuable part of the interdependent web that connects us to the whole of creation. For all the times we've seen a light at the end of the tunnel, and for all the times we have held on to hope for the future, even when it seemed beyond reason. Let's sing together, every rung goes higher, higher. 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 We
The ladder that Jacob dreamed of was a vision of a pathway between this world and a perfect divinity in the sky. The angels traveling on the ladder, however, were not only moving from earth to heaven, they also traveled from heaven to earth. Jacob dreamed not only that those of us living in the brokenness of this earthly world could find a way to perfection in a faraway heaven, but also that we could arrive at a place where the wonders of the divine could enter this world as well and reside with us.
A later Universalist understanding went further and said that heaven wasn't just a place we may end up together in the next life, but it was a reality that we can create here in this life. By acting on our values, by living our faith, we could strive for better laws, we could strive for a more just society, and we could balance out the inequalities that surround us. We could transform this world on earth as it is in heaven. For all the times we've dreamed of a better world and worked to make it possible, let's sing together, "If I stumble, will you catch me?" If I stumble, will you catch me? If I stumble, will you catch me? If I stumble, will you catch me? We are climbing on.
When Jacob awoke from his vision, he saw his surrounding with new eyes. What before had been a mundane road, he now recognized to be a place where the miraculous already embraced him. He called out loud, saying, "Surely the Lord was in this place, and I did not know it." The experience of divine love was not only something to dream of in the night, but a reality that was already here surrounding him.
Today we have perhaps a new understanding of universalism, one that says we don't have to wait for another life after this one, and we don't even need to perfect the world we live in. Love and grace are already here with us. Our joy and our sorrow are all part of the complicated beauty that surrounds us. We can find joy in the work for justice, even when the struggle leaves us exhausted. We can find hope in the journey toward a better world, even when the destination seems beyond anything we can see on the horizon. And the love that we share as we travel reminds us that we are already standing on holy ground wherever we are. For all of the times we've been blessed with love and beauty, even in a broken world, for all the times we have been surprised by hope, and for all the times we have experienced the divine already here in our midst on holy ground, let us sing together, "We are climbing Jacob's ladder." We are climbing Jacob's ladder. We are climbing Jacob's ladder. We are climbing Jacob's ladder. We are climbing on. Thank you. Amen. Claire, you may have spoken too soon. You hadn't heard the sermon yet when you suggested that the service wasn't going to be 2 hours. I'm not that traditional, though. Friends, one time at band camp, well, drum camp specifically, when I was in high school, I stumbled into a conversation one evening that some fellow drum students were having with one of our camp counselors. He was sharing about his Christian faith, and he told us about a theological question called Pascal's wager. Now, the thing to know about Pascal, for those of you that aren't familiar with him, is that he was a theologian, and he had the idea of this wager. That's about it. His wager was this: either God is real or not, and you either believe in him or not. And so the smart thing to do is to believe in God, because you avoid the risk of hell if he is real. And even if he isn't real, well, then no one goes to hell or heaven anyway, so nothing gained and nothing lost. Essentially, by believing, you have a chance at avoiding hell, and by not believing, you risk a zillion years of suffering. Now, this question didn't quite convince me to believe in God at the time, but I secretly did struggle with it for years. The logic seemed so sound, and I didn't want to admit to myself or others that belief in God seemed like the more rational choice, even though in my heart I still felt like an atheist. Now, mine was a spiritual atheism that included mystery and awe and divine interdependence, but atheist nonetheless. And so I walked around carrying this secret doubt with me for years. It was over a decade later when one evening, doing some dishes with one of my housemates in the kitchen, I admitted my doubt out loud for the first time. I admitted my doubt in atheism. Being able to name that doubt out loud opened up a conversation in that kitchen while scrubbing plates that helped me to talk through some of my complicated feelings about it. And it was in that conversation that I realized, well, you could put this same wager on any religion and on any idea of God. The choice was never only whether to believe in a specific kind of Christian God or not. The choice could be between 1,000 versions of God in 1,000 different belief systems. And in that kitchen, scrubbing those plates, I realized that in that case, the most strategic choice, the rational choice, is to believe in whichever God threatens you with the worst violence for betraying them. If every God in the spectrum says, believe in me or else, the one to pick is the one whose or else is the worst. So you have the best chance at avoiding the worst version of hell. Friends, needless to say, this is no way to be religious. It is no way to live a spiritual life. Any God who would treat heaven as a bribe for the faithful few is no God of love, and is no God worthy of praise, certainly. Our Universalist ancestors founded the Universalist tradition by proclaiming this exact heresy nearly 200 years ago. I'll always remember the moment in my 4th grade religion class in my private school that I went to, when my teacher told us that the Bible was clear that only 144,000 people would get into heaven. In all of the generations across time. Now, I didn't know exactly how many people there were in the history of the world, but I knew that my odds were not good when I heard this number. And at the time, as a 4th grader, I responded by wanting more than anything to be good enough to make the cut. But now I wouldn't actually want to be a part of a club that was so exclusive to so many. Unjust authorities all over the world maintain their power by offering privileges to pay off the loyalty of a few at the cost of the many. I wouldn't take that bribe, not on earth and not in heaven. But if you're in this sanctuary this morning, maybe this is old news to you. Not many people attend Unitarian Universalist congregations without having already rejected at least the traditional idea of hell. but the story of an authority who would offer salvation to some at the cost of the many in exchange for a regime of fear and loyalty. That is also the story of white supremacy. It is the story of patriarchy. It is the story of nearly all of the isms, offering privileges to a group just big enough that they don't question the injustice of the larger system. In 1834 in Philadelphia, there was a riot called the Flying Horses Riot. An organized white mob burned much of their neighborhood to the ground, but only the homes where African Americans lived. Irish immigrants who were living in these same neighborhoods were told to put a candle in their window on the night of the riot as a symbol to identify themselves as white, or at least not black. So their houses, by this symbol, would be saved. These Irish immigrants, my own cultural ancestors, who are entering into the racial hierarchy of this new country, were asked to pick sides. They faced a question, choosing between safety for themselves and their family or dignity for all. An impossible question. Many of them put the candle in their window. They chose whiteness, and their homes were spared. Systems of injustice continue to offer bribes like this of privilege to many of us white folks, us able-bodied folks, us men, cis folks, perhaps most egregiously to those of us who literally inherit money. We are promised safety and comfort for the few as long as we put a candle in our window and close our eyes to the violence outside of our doors. These systems perpetuate the lie that you can keep your family safe as long as you remain silent about the violence down the street, silent about the disappearance of permanent legal residents down the street, silent about unmarked police cars taking our neighbors away down the street. Before I admitted my doubt in atheism, I had struggled for so many years with Pascal's wager, not because I had the wrong answer, but because it was the wrong question. Beloveds, don't just doubt the religious answers that people give you, doubt the questions. Doubt the questions when they are meant to control. Doubt the questions that don't begin with love. Doubt the questions that are meant to divide us, particularly the so-called saved from the unsaved. Now, you all are familiar with the major religious traditions of our world, but I want to tell you about a religious tradition that is as old as any of them and as global as all of them. I want to tell you about the ancient religious tradition of doubt. In fact, I want to tell you about 3 traditions of doubt. I promise I won't go 2 hours, though. The first tradition of doubt goes back at least as far as Anaxagoras, whose name I've practiced saying many times. He was the first person in history to be indicted by a court for atheism in 467 BCE. His crime was that after he saw a meteorite fall from the sky to earth, he theorized that maybe the stars and planets in the heavens might actually be fiery orbs of metal and rock, instead of gods traveling back and forth across the skies. This got him put in jail. One tradition of doubt, friends, is a tradition of people looking up to heaven and wondering if it's not so different from the world we can grasp here on earth as it is in heaven. This tradition, this first tradition, led to most of everything science has ever taught us. It is the doubt in unquestioned supremacy of tradition, and it is belief in the possibility of learning and change. It's belief in research and science and evidence. The second tradition of doubt is tradition of people not looking up to the heavens, but looking across to each other. Learning from each other across cultures and traditions can wonderfully lead to second-guessing our old, narrow assumptions. This tradition goes back at least as far as Xenophanes, who was also Greek, but traveled all around the ancient world. And the more he traveled, the more he started to notice that, well, the Greek gods seemed so Greek. He eventually theorized that if horses could paint, they would probably paint gods that looked a lot like horses. This second tradition of holy doubt is the tradition of cross-cultural engagement that invites us to see the world through another's eyes. It is the basis of every movement for peace. It is doubt in the stories we may have once taken for granted, and it is belief in the experience of those who are different from us. It is belief in diversity and equity and inclusion. A third tradition of holy doubt is the sacred tradition of questioning unearned and unjust authority. And for this last one, let's go to the Bible itself. As an adult, I have come back to the Bible, not to take it literally, but to take it seriously. And I love that the religious tradition, I'm glad you like that. And I love that the religious tradition of doubt is alive and well in the Bible and Scripture as well. There are two separate times in the story of Exodus when God gets angry with the infidelity of the Israelites, and he tells Moses, "Get out of the way, I'm going to destroy the whole lot of them." But Moses doubts God's decision, and he stands in the way against the genocide. First, Moses appeals to God's more loving nature. But I love when that it happens the second time. Moses appeals not to God's love, but to his delicate, fragile masculinity and ego. He says, "If you kill us, you know, the Egyptians are going to hear about it. And they're going to tell everyone that you promised to free us and that you weren't powerful enough to do it. And then everybody's going to be talking about how you're not so powerful as you said you were." God agrees, and God himself repents for his sins. When we doubt the seemingly limitless power of violent authorities, when we resolve to stand strong as believers in love and in justice, peace is possible, and even God himself may repent for his violence. The third tradition of doubt, friends, is the tradition of justice. It is doubt of unearned authority, and it is belief in the inherent worth and dignity of every person. These are the three traditions of holy doubt, which are also the three traditions of belief and faith, three traditions of conviction and courage, belief in the possibility of learning and change, belief in the experience of those who are different from us and the possibility of peace, and belief in justice through the inherent worth and dignity of every person. Our opening words invited us, saying, "Before the burning bush of this world, asking us to love all of its holy but hurting ground. Come with whatever seed of faith you can muster, and let yourself unfold in the direction of shared flourishing." Beloveds, I invite you to bring your faith in courage and change, your faith in justice and in peace to this community and out into the world this week. Whatever your understanding of God or the divine, Unitarian Universalists have inherited these religious traditions of doubt and these traditions of faith, these traditions of courage and of shared flourishing. They give us a foundation, a mandate, in fact, to work for justice and peace together in beloved community. And so, beloveds, join me in the tradition of those faithful to love and to justice. Join me in the ancient religious tradition of doubt.
Hello again. Hello again. The offering we give each week is a symbol of our commitment to this faith community and to the life and works of our congregation. Instructions on how to donate online are in your order of service. If you are here for the first time, please let the plate pass you by. You are our guest. The Metro West Climate Solutions graciously thanks First Parish for their generosity. One half of today's plate will be donated to Metro West Climate Solutions. We receive your generosity with gratitude and in appreciation of all that sustains us. Your gifts maintain the strength of this community and all it does within these walls, as well as the work we do together to make the world a better place. The offering will now be given and gratefully received.
I was told the way to heaven was narrow. I was told only a few got in. I was told to be good, better than the rest. I was told it was hard to win. I was told that God, He loved everyone, but He punished more than He blessed. I was told His compassion was the reason He loved some more than the rest. I wanted so much to be good. I wanted to be better than the rest. I tried to walk a path so narrow. I tried to win His love and pass His test. But now I've known bullies and abusers. I know that they're not always mean. I know that the love they offer to a few is how our loyalty they win. 'Cause we're not saved till everybody's saved. We're not free till everyone is free. Riches for some while the rest are in need. That's no reward for me. We're not saved till everybody's saved. We're not free till everyone is free. Riches for some while the rest are in need. That's no reward for me. Now I know the answer to their wager. Would I vow myself in loyalty to the God of the few, to the tyrants of fear? Well, that's no question for me. Don't just doubt their rules and regulations. Be sure to doubt their questions as well. Doubt their declarations, all that are meant to divide. Doubt their questions that are meant to control. Then let us wonder aloud to each other how we might begin again here in love. Let us wonder aloud of the world we've imagined here on earth as it is up above. 'Cause we're not saved till everybody's saved. We're not free till everyone is free. Riches for some while the rest are in need. That's no reward for me. We're not saved till everybody's saved. We're not free till everyone is free. Riches for some while the rest are in need. That's no reward for me. I'll invite you to join me in our closing song, Where You Go, I Will Go, Beloved. The words in the song goes like this. Can I get that first chord? Okay, give me the F chord and I'll set the tempo from there. Go ahead. Can you play just the first chord, Polly? Thank you. Where you go, I will go, beloved. Where you go, I will go. Try that. Where you go, I will go, beloved. Where you go, I will go again. Where you go, I will go, beloved. Where you go, I will go. Next part goes like this. For your people are my people. Your people are mine. Your people are my people. You're divine, my divine. Let's try that. For your people are my people. Your people are mine. Your people. Your people are my people. You're divine. You're divine, my divine. I invite you to rise. Where you go, I will go, beloved. Where you go, I will go. Where you go, I will go, beloved. Where you go, I will go for your people. For your people are my people. Your people are mine. Your people are my people. You're divine, my divine. Where you go, where you go, I will go, beloved. Where you go, I will go. Where you go, I will go, beloved. Where you go, I will go for your people are my people. Your people are mine. Your people are my people. You're divine, my divine. Where you go, I will go, beloved. Where you go, I will go. Where you go, I will go, beloved. Where you go, I will go. Where you go, where you go. Where you go, I will go, beloved. Where you go, I will go. Where you go, where you go, I will go, beloved. Where you go, I will go. For your people. Your people are my people. Your people are mine. Your people are my people. You're divine, my divine. For your people. For your people are my people. Your people are mine. Your people are my people. You're divine, my divine. Where you go, I will go, beloved. Where you go, I will go. Where you go, I will go, beloved. Where you go, I will go. Beloveds, may we unfold together towards shared flourishing. May we gather whatever seed of faith we can muster and bring our faith in courage, our faith in love and in justice, as well as our doubts. May we gather together and go forth in community. Go in love, go in peace, and go and be blessed as you are each a blessing to others. Amen.